especially in terms of dealing with your own children. Um, I think parents especially have an enormous amount of fear, I mean terror of what they're seeing their child going through.
Right.
Do you think what was it for you? Do you think you had a better perspective having been through recovery yourself? Did you have more fear of what
Yeah.
you're going through? Or do you think
Yeah.
you had less because you had been there and kind of got through to the other side?
Yeah. Yeah. I had a ton of fear,
You did.
right? And particularly as it relates to my son and their cultural aspects of that as well, right? And meaning, truthfully here, I'm a Black woman, and this was a young Black man, right? And there are disparities in the way that particularly young Black men are treated in the criminal justice system, in social systems, in all of that. And that's just a fact, right? The data bears that out, right? You see the data on all those things. So I had a ton of fear related to not just him in the throes of addiction itself, but all these cultural things that surrounded it. And I had to have a conversation with him, right? To say, if this turns out and you get in the throes of this legal entanglement, right? If you get in the throes, I can't help you, right? Here's the reality of it, right? When you get in that system, right, that system is set up for, you to go to prison, for you to, there is a prison pipeline, right? And for you to do all those things. So I had to have those conversations with him in those moments to relate all that and to relate my fear, right? And I would tell him in those conversations with him, this is what I see, in you, right? And I would always tell him, and this is how it affects me. Here's how what I see affects me, right? To let him know that as well, because that's a reality too. Those conversations are that I had with him at that time, really had with both of them at that time, were based in nonviolent communication, right? They're based in NVC, right? And there's kind of a formulaic way that you do things in NVC, but you can switch that so it doesn't become so so scripty or formulaic. When I'm really doing it from this heart-centered place, right? I have to keep going back to in relationship, particularly with my children. My question, is as a matter of fact, this will get us into another piece. One of the things that we do in Y12SR is we have curriculum that really deeply addresses codependency, right? Because I assert that I don't care the way that we define codependency in my work is, and really this goes into a definition that I love to use relative to addiction itself. It's the disease of the lost self, right? We're looking outside of ourselves, we're looking external for something that can only come internal, right? When we look outside of ourselves for something that can only come from the inside, truth is, I can form a dependency relationship with many, many things, right? I jokingly always say, I've been in a codependent relationship with Nordstrom's or Amazon, right? I'm reaching still there outside of myself many times, right? For a sense of comfort and ease, to think I'm satisfied, right? Something that can only be worked in from internal, not external.